What's up, everybody? My name is Michael, and this is a video episode, a video version of You Should Play. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen see a few of these pop up, but usually in blog post form. In the past, I did one for Warhammer Vermintide, and also Thea the Awakening, both games which you should play. So you're free to check out my blog if you want to be interested on those games. All that information is down in the description below if you want to take a look. And this game today, I wanted to do this one in video form for a few reasons. First off, it's a fairly complex game, and also visually, I want people to appreciate the art style, because I really love the art in this game. The art is one of my favorite things about Duelyst. They have a great mix of hand-drawn art for a lot of stuff, but also just the pixel art style that they have for the actual gameplay and the cards. It's really awesome and unique and colorful and all that stuff, and every single card has animation to it, which is insane. It's really awesome to see that amount of work put in, and it pays off. It looks great, and I love all of it. If you're a fan of pixel art, you really might, and you really will enjoy the cards and stuff like that for this game. So you should play Duelyst. So what is Duelyst? Duelyst is it's sort of a mix of Hearthstone and Fire Emblem, is one of the phrases I've seen sort of been attributed to it. It's a card game where you build decks, just like Hearthstone, but the actual gameplay is similar to Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, those kinds of games where you are placing your cards on the board, spawning your minions and spells on the board, and interacting with the board in sort of a grid view. It's a small grid. I'll jump into sort of a sandbox mode just to show you guys what it looks like, because I don't want to do an actual full game for this recording. So it's a free-to-play game as well. You can go to duelyst.com, and you can actually play it in your browser if you're using Chrome, or you can just do what I did and download the client if you prefer it that way. But it's very accessible, and it's definitely my new Hearthstone. I've only been playing about half a week or so, but I am so addicted to it, and it's just much more fun than Hearthstone, I'm finding. It could be because I'm burnt out on Hearthstone, I don't know. I wasn't really burnt out before I tried out Duelyst, but Duelyst sort of caught my attention and held it a lot more than Hearthstone did, and it's a lot of fun. One of the main things I like about it is just how they're doing sort of the gold gain, and also the way packs work, and also just the general style of the game. Now, it's going to be hard not to compare it to Hearthstone. There's a lot of similarities to it, but at the same time, just the way it plays out is just totally different, and in my opinion, it's much more rewarding. So I'll probably be jumping around a lot like I normally do, but hopefully you guys will still enjoy this video, and to anyone interested in Duelyst, hopefully you find it a little bit informative. If you were sort of wondering whether or not you should spend the 10 minutes to download it and see where it goes. So we'll just go through the menu stuff and focus on things. Now, I got to preface this. I actually should have said this way at the start of the video. This is in beta. This is in open beta right now. You can see in the bottom left it's version 0.53. And I actually got a code for this game when it was in closed beta, but I was working on other things, playing other games, and I just didn't pick it up. And while I regret not getting hooked on it a long time ago, I don't regret it for the fact that I'm glad I came into it when it's still fairly small and up and coming, but at the same time, there's much more content than there was in closed beta, and a lot more balances and stuff like that. So, so I do not regret it in that sense. So, not much to say there. This is the starting screen, obviously, and you can see some awesome hand-drawn art here, sort of as an example what I was talking about before. On the left, you have the play, collection, and codex. For the play modes, they are going to be adding more game modes, and of course, way down the road, they got priorities, of course, but they will be adding a casual mode. Right now, if you want to play against other people, it's mainly just ranked or gauntlet, which is their draft mode, and you can see the draft mode is really only available on Wednesdays and Saturdays, I believe, because they want to keep queue times low for that. But essentially, the gauntlet is just draft mode, similar to Hearthstone. You also have the training grounds and the sandbox. The sandbox is a really cool addition, and it is essentially you just get to pop in and you play both players. You can pick two of the factions that you want to sort of experiment with or test out, and just play games by yourself. It's a great way to learn if you're confused about an interaction, if you want to test out an interaction. This is something that, you know, Hearthstone should have added a long time ago, but they haven't. They probably never will. So it's really, really nice to see that feature just like right off the bat. But one thing to note about the training grounds, this is going to be going on to my point of this game is a lot more accessible than Hearthstone. One thing I like about it is not only do you have just the basic tutorial to learn the basics of the game. It's a much more complex game than Hearthstone, just due to the nature of the game. But they also have a bunch of these challenges, and these challenges are very, very fun to do. They are essentially just they set you up. They're essentially puzzles. If you like puzzles, you'll really enjoy these ones. They'll give you a faction, a set of spells, and a layout already made out for you, and your goal is to kill the computer general in one turn. So you have to figure out how to get lethal on that turn. So it's very, very fun for people who like lethal puzzles and stuff like that. And the best part is you get gold. So there's a lot of ways to get gold in this game, a lot more than Hearthstone, and you get gold a lot faster than Hearthstone. And also the way rarities work for the boosters, you get legendaries and epics much faster as well. Stats-wise, you get supposedly 1 out of 4 packs will have a legendary, and 1 out of 2 packs will have an epic, which is amazing for those of you who like opening packs and like seeing all those flashy, awesome rarity signs. They use the same rarity symbols as Hearthstone, by the way. You know, purple epic, white common, blue rare, and orange legendary. So it's very, very nice to see that. But the nice thing about this game is a lot of staple decks and a lot of good decks will rely on good commons, rares, and maybe a few good epics, and maybe like a few legendaries just for a power spike in a turn or so. But really, the decks aren't as reliant on legendaries, whereas in Hearthstone, a lot of the stable decks, a lot of those high-end decks, really the top end is majority of it are made of legendaries, and those legendaries are fairly unique, where they won't really you won't really find any other card that replicates that effect. In this game, as long as you can play well and you have a decently built deck and a consistent deck, you can climb up the ladder with it, and that's really, really nice to see. It makes it a lot more entry level for a lot of people, and it makes it much less reliant on, you know, having to pay to win, essentially, because there's a lot of those staples that aren't really needed. You can really adjust properly with some really good rares or commons and still be able to climb the ladder and not have to worry about totally getting stomped. But I really enjoyed doing all these, and I think in total these gave you 400 gold, which is essentially 4 packs. And they're really, really, really great to do just to sort of take a break from the ladder, or just do them in your spare time. It's just a lot of fun. It's a nice little thing they added, and you know, it was at least a couple to a few hours for me to complete all of them. Some of them are really hard, and I had to actually get help for the last 2 just because they were really, really hard. I mean, granted, I had only been playing the game for a couple of days, so a lot of the mechanics and stuff like that I just didn't know about, so that's probably what slowed me down a little bit, but that's alright. You also have the Codex. So the Codex hasn't been implemented yet, but they're planning on putting actual lore and stuff in the game, which is cool, because I'm interested to hear a lot about the factions and the characters and stuff like that, because a lot of them seem pretty cool to read about. So I'm not sure how exactly that's going to work. Again, I'm fairly new to the game, so I apologize if I get anything wrong or leave anything out. But, you know, this video is really just sort of a first impressions from a new player's perspective, and also just a way for you to get interested in the game, and my own personal recommendation. Then you also have Spirit Orbs. So this is just where you open up the new booster packs. In this game, booster packs are called orbs. Same pricing point as Hearthstone, where it's 100 gold for 1 orb. And then you also have, you know, if you want to pay actual money for them, you can do that perfectly fine. But I definitely would just recommend doing a lot of the free stuff first, because you get a lot of free orbs and stuff like that just by playing the game, which is really, really nice to see. Again, it's just a lot easier to get into than Hearthstone is. Then you have your collection. Of course, this is where you'll set up all your decks, and there are a bunch of deck slots. I've seen when I was watching streamers and they open up their decks before they play, they have like rows and rows of decks. So if you want to build decks, well, hey, there's definitely more than 9 deck slots in this game, that's for sure. I think there is at least 20, just judging from trying to remember from what I've seen on stream and stuff like that. So yeah, you can have a bunch of decks. In this game, they're called squads. So you have 6 different factions. You have Leonar, Songhai, Vitruvian, Abyssian, Magmar, and Vanar, or Vanar, I guess is how it's pronounced. Vanar is the most recently added one. Very, very cool. This is my favorite faction actually so far. Good focus on tribal and really, really good in tempo. Each faction has their own sort of specializations and stuff like that, of course, and the goal is the general. So everyone has their own general. For example, Lionars is Argian Highmane, Songhai has Kalios Zan, Vitruvian has Xerix Star Strider, Abyssian has Lilith Blightcaster, Magmar has Vath the Immortal, and Vanar has Fae Bloodwing. And as you can see, like I said, even just idling, all these cards have animations. When you hover over them, they have an extra little animation, which is a lot of work to put into just every single card. And it really makes the game look great. I love this style of art. I love the hand-drawn stuff as well. It's really, really awesome to see like these the faction emblems you can see here. They just look really, really sweet. I really, really enjoy it. So you build your decks, and the big main difference is to Hearthstone is the deck sizes. You use 40 card decks as opposed to 30, and you can have up to 3 copies of each card in a deck regardless of rarity. So for example, I have 2 of these legendaries, Silith Elder. I can have 3 of them if I had 3 of them if I wanted to. So yeah, but like I said, I mean, decks aren't reliant on legendaries as much as Hearthstone is, and you can get by with just good, solid play, some really good rares, and maybe a few epics, but that's about it. And they also have a crafting system similar to Hearthstone, of course. Create or disenchant for a smaller percentage of the spirit back, which is what their dest is called. It's called Spirit. And you also have neutral cards, and not much to say there. Like I said, they're in beta. They're constantly adding cards. Every month is a season, similar to Hearthstone, and they add 4 cards every season, which is nice. I like that rather than having to wait for an expansion or something like that. And it also helps in balancing. I think the way they balance this game, it just makes it easier for them when they're sort of slowly putting in cards, but consistently. It's a really, really nice thing to look forward to at the end of the month. And they just recently added in a few new cards, which is nice. And they're not just big cards. Like, for example, this Jaxi card was added in this month, and it's like one of the best commons now, people are saying, or one of the better commons especially. It's like a staple now in a lot of decks. It's very, very good. So you like, even just as a common level, you can get a really, really good card. So you also have quests as well, daily quests. The average cost for them is 25, I believe, from what I've seen. You get 2 quests per day, and you also get 25 gold for the first win each day. So you can get gold fairly easily, and the quests are very similar. Most of them are like this: play 4 online games with a certain squad. But every so often you'll get one like maybe destroy 5 monsters in one game, which is very, very easy to do. So pretty straightforward there. You have your profile just showing who's your most played faction, your ranked wins, gauntlet wins, etc., etc. Pretty straightforward there, and how you do things. I really like the style of the layout and everything like that. It's sort of like a futuristic but fantasy theme. I really, really enjoy that. The armory is just where you buy stuff. Not much to do in settings. So let's just get into the gameplay, just so I can sort of show you guys exactly how it looks. And then we'll just pick a couple of random stuff. So this is how the game works. Also, sort of just go through everything as we come across it. So just like in Hearthstone, you have a mulligan system. But what the one thing I like about this game is it reduces a ton of RNG, and it really values skill play. If you can there's more opportunities to outplay your opponent just due to the nature of this game. You know, having it as a grid strategy-based game as opposed to just a sort of a card game, I guess. And they take out a lot of the RNG. Obviously, you're going to have a little bit of RNG through card draw, stuff like that. You know, you just can't help that in a game like this. But they minimize that a lot, and they do it in a really cool way, and it works really, really well for the game. And you never feel helpless, which is a big problem I find in Hearthstone. You can sometimes feel just helpless, and really it's just a matter of conceding. Where in this game is, the way it works in this game is, you pretty much get a free mulligan every single turn. Every time you have a turn, you can replace a card. So let's say I don't like this hand. I mean, pretty straightforward. Mulligan what you don't want. Don't click on what you want to keep. Blah, blah, blah. That's perfectly fine. That actually was a good hand. And, okay, so this is similar to Hearthstone as well. You have almost coins on the tiles. So these are mana springs, so they'll give you an extra mana for that turn. And also, the person who's going second will actually start a little bit closer to the mana tile and also start with 3 mana at the start as opposed to 2. So the person who gets to act first obviously can sort of take board a little bit better or something like that, or they can set up first, but the person who is going second will have access to that tile pretty much right off the bat if they have a turn, or if they have a 3-core or 2-core play. Your mana is called cores in this game. I'll probably call it mana, though, just because that's what I'm used to. But yeah, for the card draw system, sometimes it reduces the chance of you just drawing badly throughout this game, which is really, really nice. I've always every person who plays Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone or any of those card games really just hates bad draws. I mean, that's just something you have to live with when you play this type of game. But this game minimizes it to a point. So you draw 2 cards per turn at the end of your turn. So that's nice because it keeps you full of gas even if you are still playing out your hand. You still get a couple of cards to play with the following turn, so you don't feel totally helpless. You also, at the start of or anytime during your turn, you can replace up to 1 card. There are some cards that can help you replace more than 1, but let's say I had really, really bad drops. Let's say I didn't have this Rust Crawler. Let's say I had like 5 drops and 6 drops. I'm like, okay, well, I can't play anything. Let's try to look for a 2 drop. You just drag it, put it in their place, you'll get a new card. Oh, look at that. I got something to play now. And the nice thing about it is it'll never be the same type of card, which means, okay, I really don't like Sunbloom. It would really suck if I used up my mulligan and got Sunbloom again. Well, that's impossible. It won't happen. So they did do their best to really minimize the chances of bad draws and really try and give you the best draw that you can have to have a chance at sort of fighting back at your opponent, which is really, really nice. And then you just end your turn, of course. Not much to do there. You can play stuff and as close around you, a square over. And the cool thing about this game though is, and it just totally works for its sort of strategy element and board control and stuff like that. You can play things off your other minions. So I just played a minion there. Next turn I'll actually be able to play something off that minion. So while I can play a minion like this, next turn I'll be able to play a minion even across these ones. So for example, now you can see where I can place this minion. I can actually use my other minion to sort of ladder on, like use your minions as a stepping stone almost to get access to other parts of the board you normally wouldn't, which is really, really just adds another layer of complexity to this game, and you can really just have a bunch of strategies going all at once. It's very, very awesome, and like I said, I just get more immersed in this game than Hearthstone, just due to the nature of the game. And again, I'm not bashing Hearthstone. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it's just on a competitive level, I guess. It's a much more casual game. I mean, you can't really argue with that. But again, this game is a totally different style, so can't really compare them too much. But there are definitely similarities, and I think this game, if you enjoy Hearthstone but want something a little bit different and a little bit less RNG, and also if you're just interested in like Fire Emblem and those kinds of games, you really, really should give this a try, because it's free. And again, the entry cost for this game is much, much lower than Hearthstone to be able to still compete at a relatively competitive level, I guess I should say. I mean, obviously some of those top decks do have multiple copies of legendaries and stuff like that, but because you're also getting quite a few more legendaries more often, you have more dust or spirit to work with to craft those legendaries you actually want to play with. So it sort of pays off. And now your general is sort of a piece of the game, but also your lifeline. So every general starts with 25 health, and you can use it to attack. You can see the general has 2 attack. You can also see that monster actually counterattacked. So every single time you attack something, it's going to attack back. There are some exceptions. For example, Songhai has access to a special ability called Backstab, where if they're behind an opponent and they attack it, it doesn't have the ability to attack back. It also gets bonus damage. So there's a lot of different synergies and interesting things you can do in the game, and you really have to be able to, gauge how much damage you want to take. there's tons of different ways to play. I'm not going to go into the strategies mainly because I don't know a lot of the strategies, but also it would take far too long, and this video is already way too long, probably as it is. But it's a ton of fun, and the main thing is, like I said, probably the biggest thing is it's a lot more new player friendly. I would say, and it rewards skill a lot more, because I've been at a point where I just have no board control, and I'm pretty much just fighting for my life. But you know, just due to better positioning and maybe some mind games and stuff like that, and out positioning my opponent, I've won. I've came back and won, even at like 1 health. Whereas in Hearthstone, if they set up a bunch of taunts and you have no cards in hand, it's like, okay, well, what do? I hit the concede button. Even if they don't have a bunch of taunts, if they have board control and you have no cards in hand or anything like that, it's like you're done. Whereas in this game, because you have the mobility of a top-down strategy game, it becomes much different, and it's just more multi-layered than Hearthstone, which I think would appeal to a lot of people, because you know, millions of players love Hearthstone, and I think this game deserves a little bit of exposure. This game is up and coming. They are planning on putting it on Steam, I believe, and once that hits Steam, I think this game is going to be pretty big. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this game, because there's tons of people who are like me, who are sort of a little bit tired of Hearthstone, but still love that kind of game, and I think this game is exactly for those people, especially for those people who want to be a part of growing this game up, because this game is fairly small. They have a lot of input on how it grows. The developers are really, really, communicative. I personally haven't communicated with them myself, but from what I've been reading and from what I hear, they are really, really good at sort of just talking and being interactive within the community, which obviously is something Blizzard isn't really good at. But I mean, it also due to just Hearthstone size. I mean, it's a little bit tougher for them to do that, and also, it sort of goes along with the respect that the community has, I guess, for other people, just because this community is smaller and the community is really, really helpful, really, really friendly. I haven't met anyone really evil. I haven't met anyone who BMs super hardcore. There is BMing. I mean, it's just natural. There are actually emotes in this game, but they're really cute. They're really, really funny. I like how their faces, and they don't come with voices, so you don't have to hear the mage's sarcastic hello. It's just a nice, polite hello, and I like how they have like good ones, like good luck, have fun. I pretty much do that all the time, and I usually pretty much always get one back. They have faction specific ones, and other ones they'll add in. You'll be able to unlock them just by playing the faction and stuff like that. But a lot of them are really cute and they're really, really fun. They make me laugh, even if I'm in a bad situation and someone does like a confused look at my play or something like that. I'll just laugh. And that's another thing. I don't find myself getting mad over losses as much. Whereas in Hearthstone, it's like some bad draws and stuff like that, and just feeling like you're way too far behind to come back is just, you get really, really mad. I'm just playing stuff randomly, by the way. I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. Just keeping things moving on the screen for you. And you also feel really, really good about those wins when you feel like you really just outplayed your opponent. It's a really great feeling. So yeah. This is Duelyst. Now this is pretty much what it is. For the ranking system, they do have a bunch of different ranks. S rank is the highest. S rank is like your legend status. And they have milestones just like in Hearthstone where you can't lose a rank. I think it's 20, 10, and 5 is what it's for. And the rank up system is similar to Hearthstone where you can have win streaks, stuff like that. You get gold faster for winning though. It's 15 gold per 2 wins, up to 14 wins, and then you get 5 gold per 2 wins. Still, getting 14 wins would be very, very, quite time consuming, but a lot of people play a lot of this game. They also have a ton of hidden quests. I find myself getting free packs just randomly out of nowhere just for playing the game. Just like Hearthstone, they have free packs, but I think this game has many more hidden quests than Hearthstone does. So yeah, not much to say there. Also, their starter decks are actually good. Like, you can actually win with them. Unlike Hearthstone. Okay, so I think I've said enough about this game. You've sort of seen it. You've heard my thoughts on it. I think you should play it. At least give it a try. Again, it's free. The download's really, really quick. You could even just download the add-on into your browser on Chrome and play there. Very, very easy, very, very straightforward, and very, very fun. If you're looking for, and this game is fairly unique. I mean, there's not many games that are like it out there, from what I've seen so far. And I think this game appeals to more than one player. There are people who enjoy Final Fantasy Tactics games, and people who enjoy card games like Hearthstone. This sort of brings them all together in one nice little package. And I'm really looking forward to where this game goes, because I think this game's going to be pretty big. And it's great for streamers. If you are, I wouldn't say great for streamers, but it's been good to me so far. Because there's only a small handful of people streaming it. But there's still a community out there wanting to watch it on Twitch. So I think if you really wanted to, you could pick up some new faces for this game if you so choose. And I'll be streaming this game a lot on my Twitch channel. You can find the link for that down in the description below. But other than that, I'm going to take off, and I'm probably going to go play some more Duelyst. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys check out Duelyst, and I will talk to you guys later. Hope you guys have a great night, morning, day, wherever you are, and see you later.